What is up, everyone? Welcome back. We are still doing From Blah to Badass and kind of what that looks like, how I have done that, and just a little bit more about my story. Today, we're going to specifically be talking about careers, which can be super scary. Because it's your livelihood, right? If you're a parent, if you're not a parent, it's making ends meet, making sure you can eat, you have a roof over your head, right? Jobs and what they mean to us as a society can be terrifying. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Just a little backstory. I went to college to be a teacher. I went all the way through and got my master's degree and was a teacher for damn near 10 years. And it was great when I first started teaching, because I had this, I had the new graduate drive, like I was gonna change the fucking world teaching. And not saying I didn't make some great progress, and I loved my job when I did it. But holy hell, and I can say this from experience, it is the most underrated position, underpaid position. There are days you are a glorified babysitter for some of those students. There are moments where you are the parent, you are the counselor, you are the teacher, you are the friend, you are everything for this child and these children, and it is so taxing on your soul. I mean, physically it takes a toll as well. I taught special education, so I had some different challenges in the classroom. But teaching or not, I taught regular education as well, and there's challenges. And it's so tough to know that I went to school, I got my fucking master's degree, went into massive student loan debt to hold this degree for this job that I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. And about 2.5, 3 years ago, something like that, I was in a position where I was burnt the fuck out. And so I thought, okay, I'll switch schools, and that'll help. So I stayed a teacher, but went to a different school district to work. And during that year, just realized that I was done. I was burnt all the way out. I had nothing left. And it was the hardest thing, because you had, as a teacher, and I was a parent at this point too, your heart is tied to those kids so hard, and you want them to be successful. But I won't go into the flaws of the education system by any means, because if you want to do that, you can look it up or go find yourself a teacher to talk to. But ultimately it was the politics in school, you're doing a great job, but nobody gives a shit mentality, that burned me out. You're expected to work a 80-hour week, almost, it feels like sometimes, because you never leave that classroom. Those kids come home with you every night, because like I said, they're just right here on your heart. So you take them home with you, and you just never leave work. And that was really affecting me as a parent. It was affecting, my mental state really bad. So, I guess it was 2020, in March of 2020, I submitted my letter of resignation saying I wouldn't be coming back for that school year. Coming back for the following school year. I would finish that school year, obviously, so I'd work through May. And then it was all of a sudden, by the end of May, I'm not going to have a job. I don't know what I'm going to do. In March, was it March or April that year also, I got a divorce. So now, not only did I not have a job, I was now going down to a one-income household with 2 kids. And it really wasn't even a one-income household because I didn't have a fucking job. I was gonna get paid because I was on salary, but I had nothing else lined up. And the fear that hit threw me into overdrive. I mean, I had panic attacks. I mean, like, I had days where I was just like, this isn't gonna fucking work. How are we gonna do this? We're gonna lose the house. How am I gonna feed the kids? And that was all a me thing. That had nothing to do with anything else. That was just a me thing. But what that did is it forced me to look at myself and what I was capable of doing. Yes, I have a master's degree. Yes, I have this, whatever. I have the certificate that I completed 6 years of college and went into massive fucking debt for a job I no longer do. And the thing of it is that's not what drove my soul. That's not what I wanted to do. I thought it was, but it wasn't. And so now I'm at a point where I have no income and I'm getting a divorce, and what the fuck am I gonna do? Well, I turned inward. I looked inside because I have skills. I'm not just a teacher. There are skills with teaching that are labeled in educational jargon that translate to other areas. And it took me a while. I had to Google, I had to research, I had to look at all these different positions and be like, okay, so that's what this says, but this is what I can do. Are they the same thing? And it took me a little while. I did find another position and am still working with that company as well as starting my own company. But it's so hard and it's terrifying because I feel like as we are expected to do these, we're supposed to have a job. This job is supposed to be held in high regard so that we can say, well, this is what I do for a living. And when you tell people you're a teacher, they're like, oh, bless your soul. And they better fucking mean it. Because it is difficult and your soul gets so tired when you do that job. So I did find another job, but it did take some searching. It did take me really getting into the nitty-gritty of what I was capable of, and owning what I was capable of, and owning my worth, because I could have easily stepped into an entry-level position which would have made it very difficult to still make ends meet as a newly single parent. So I had to do some work. I had to do some journaling. I had to go, you are worth, this amount of money. And people say money isn't everything and it doesn't buy happiness, and that's fine. But we're talking about I went from 2 incomes to none, and money's a big fucking deal. I have to feed my kids. I have to keep our house. I have to provide them with clothes and shoes and all of those things. I have to. And so money was a big fucking deal. And I did say, this is what I'm capable of, this is what I can do, and this is what I'm fucking worth in a monetary value. Because I can. And if you're at a point where you're wanting to make this career switch and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? I suggest you do some work. Look at what you're capable of doing. Look at what your skills are. Get on the frickin' thesaurus, Google it, type in something you can do and see what other words pop up, so that when you go looking through jobs and postings and things of places you might want to work, you know what your skills are and how they translate to a different field. That's what you need to be doing. It's not easy to jump careers necessarily, but if you do the work and you know what you can do, then you can walk in it with that confidence and be like, this is what I can do. And this is what I can do for you your company. And, you know, this is what I expect as a salary or as an hourly rate or whatever. And you should be able to do that. So my suggestion is, if you're in this season where you're thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? You need to be writing out what you do every day. You need to be writing out just single words and then looking up other similar words, right? Find your synonyms for those tasks, for those skills. And then look up your jobs and see what you can do. It was terrifying because I started out that summer in a part-time, 20 hours a week, hourly position. Still not gonna make ends meet. We're gonna survive, but we're gonna be robbing Peter to pay Paul to get through. And by September of that fall, they offered me a salary position. Because I said, this is what I can do. And in that hourly little interim of work, I showed them what I could do. So, it's scary, but I'm telling you, from experience, from having a career that I went to school for, went to college for, have degrees for, to jumping to something that my degree does not apply to, and starting my own business, it's scary as hell. And going through a divorce. You have to let yourself hit bottom. And I'm not saying emotionally and everything where everything's falling apart, but you need to sit there. I say this all the time. You guys gotta fucking sit with it. If you're upset and you're scared, then sit with it, write it out, and figure out why the hell you feel that way. You know, and figure out how you're going to come out of it. I have found, and I've done this more than once, I didn't have a job, or back talking about in spring of 2020, I didn't have a job, I was getting a divorce, I didn't know how I was going to pay bills, and I simply sat with it and said, fuck it, this is what I'm going to do, and I started working. You know, people say, you know, visualize and manifest this, that, and the other. You do still have to do the fucking work. It's not going to necessarily magically appear. But if you've done some of these steps where you've written it out, or you know what you're looking for, it will appear because you're working on it, right? So as I sat there and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, these doors started coming up because you have to sit there and do that. And I have found the more that, not that I let go, but not that I'm just like, fuck it, it's just going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. But the more I'm like, okay, Jesse, take a breath. It's gonna work out. It works out every time. What are you gonna do to help you get to the next step? And then I start writing out, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And those steps, excuse me, those steps build into an opportunity. They do. So, anyway. Career changes are hard. I've been there. It sucks. Being financially unstable fucking sucks. But you can do it. I know you can. Thank you for coming to my rant on career changes today. Finally, find me on Instagram at Beautiful Badass Life. There is apparel and, you know, hoodies and shirts and stuff like that on beautifulbadasslife.com. If y'all need anything, DM me on Instagram or leave a comment below. I'm out here. I got more shit to do, but I love you all. See ya.